Today I will be talking English and I will be driving the most exclusive car I've ever driven, the Alfa Romeo SZ. Now before I start, short disclaimer, I'll be talking about the impressive history of this specific car and I'll be sharing my thoughts on driving experience and such, but it's all coming from a guy who's never driven an exotic classic before, just so you know. Now the most important thing to start off with a car like this is of course the looks. And from where I'm standing, from my perspective, which is important, looking to the front of the car, this car looks absolutely stunning. Very beautiful red color, low to the ground thanks to the electronically adjustable Koni suspension with a button inside the interior, I'll show you later. Then these 6 distinguished headlight units. We also find back later on the Alfa 159 and Alfa Brera, for example, but now squared, which looks cool. Then those wheels that are very far into the body, which looks weird, but it kind of suits the design, I guess. And then those huge gaps in between the body panels that are made of glass fiber composite reinforced resin, which is short for plastic. And then these gaps remind me of a huge American EV company. You might know them, they don't do this on purpose. Anyway, it's a beautiful car to look at. From the backside, it's a different story though. You could say that it looks a little bit cramped, that there's not as much overhang, overthrow, I don't know the English word, part of body that sticks out from the rear end compared to the front. It's smaller. You could also say that it lacks creases or other design elements in the rear panels. You could say that the spoiler, which is made of carbon fiber, is a little bit too far up. It's a controversial car, and it already was controversial when it came out back in 1989, and it still is. People are still talking about it on the internet. What I think it looks a little bit like the Alfa 75 America, which this car is based on, but now with some thoroughly designed aftermarket body parts attached to it, which make it look like a street racer or something. You really have to get used to it. Hate it or love it really fits the description in this case. So cast your vote in the upper right corner of the screen to let me know what you think. I'm going to take a look inside. That's a lot of noise. Well, taking place in a car like this really brings me back. It's a cliche, but to the old age. I'm from the 90s, so I grew up in that time and it reminds me of my dad's car. But now, with actual thought and design, with beautiful clocks over here, these cozy leather seats with the beige tint stretched out to infinity. Then there's the seating position itself. I'm fairly high up and the visibility is very good through all the windows except for the rear one because of that huge wing. And then there's the steering wheel that is pretty far away, so I really have to stretch my arms, but I cannot really stretch my legs like I want them to. Then there's the back, which is actually your storing space, because we do have a trunk, but that one is filled up with spare wheel. Italian engineering. Then we have this button over here to raise or lower your suspension. Very practical if you're going to visit the supermarket and you have to pass some speed bumps. You are going to draw a lot of attention, by the way. Then any other things, yes, there's this steering wheel, which is a bit weird because it's not centered, it's a little bit to the right, and you also have to look down to see the clocks. Then and the other things, yes, there's this badge over here that makes this car extraordinarily valuable, but I'll tell you all about it later on. First, I'll start the car and take it for a drive. So now driving around this car, I have to say it really gets a little bit smelly. And that is because I had to get my shoes off because I was pushing the brake and the accelerator at the same time. So now I can finally enjoy this magnificent sounding engine, this magnificent Busso V6. Beautiful. And well, you really have to let it climb in revs to get to the full potential of around 200 horsepower. But to do that, you really need to take some time. And I'm not doing that because of two reasons actually. And one of them is I'm on a public road today, so I try to be responsible. And the second reason is, oof, there goes the chair. And the second reason is, that's the most important reason actually is I'm kind of frightened. It's kind of scary to drive this thing around because there were only 1,000 cars made, only 1,000 SZs made. And then this is not 729 or 287. No, this is number 3. This is number 3, which means that number 1 is probably still in Arese in Italy, where the car was manufactured. It's in the Alfa Romeo museum right now. Number 2 never saw any daylight and was shipped right away to Japan, where it's now taking place in a private car collection without any street cred. And then there's this car, the first car available for the public to buy, which happened in Rome, where a car sales company named Tar Car was able to get their hands on it for the first time. They sold it to the first customer, but then this guy sold it to a guy called Pietro Torchetti. And Pietro Torchetti was not a regular guy. No, he was a car designer and a car manufacturer himself. And apart from that, he was also a well-respected Sicilian author on philosophy and architecture. Sounds like a smart guy, although he sold this car and then it came to Belgium, where it was in the hands of an ex-Le Mans driver for a couple of years. And then it was brought to England, and there it was bought by one of the most influential background figures in motorsport, the guy behind all the Macau Formula 3 Grand Prix, Mr. Barry Bland. He bought it together with Anthony Boyo Hyatt, the owner of Double R Racing, and he and his team made sure that this car always was in a perfect condition. Well, that's a little history lesson. Now let's see if I can put my foot on the gas a little more. It's a beautiful car and a beautiful sounding car to drive over here. What a joy. So as you might have found out after this 32-year history story, this car always has been in the hands of motorsport enthusiasts. It was always taken good care of, it was only driven occasionally, hence a low mileage of only 50,000 kilometers. And now the last thing I would like to show you are the details to recognize an early SZ. You can see it around the headlights, it's all blackened out over there. And then there are smaller door handles, but there's also Kevlar being used inside the interior. So I think that's it for now. Please subscribe if you would like to see more cool cars being sold around here in the Netherlands or maybe abroad. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye.